Welcome to the third part of face development. We have already proceeded in the last part talking about the development of the maxilla bone with the palate. Now we'll develop into continue to the mandibular bone development. The mandible initially develops intramembranously as the maxilla in intramembranous ossification, but subsequently the mandible will grow and the growth will be related to the appearance of secondary cartilages. The condylar cartilage is the most important. Developing mandible is preceded by an appearance of Meckel's cartilage, which is a rod-like cartilage appearing in the 6th week. This cartilage extends from the cartilaginous otic capsule in the region of the developing ear into the midline symphysis. Part A is Meckel's cartilage. B is the bone lateral to Meckel's cartilage, which ossifies, and C is the tongue. D is the midline symphysis area. So the cartilage of the first branchial arch that is associated with mandible formation is called Meckel's cartilage, forms at 6-week intrauterine and in a shape of a rod that has a fibrocellular capsule. The two cartilages, they do not meet in the middle, and they are separated by a thin line of cartilage called as symphysis. On the lateral aspect of the symphysis, we have condensation of mesenchyme. At 7th week intrauterine, the ossification starts in the mesenchyme anteriorly and spreads towards anterior, posterior to form the bone of the mandible. The start of the ossification starts in the mental area, the area of the mental foramen. Here starts the center of ossification for the future mental foramen. Here the division of the nerve The nerve will divide into a mental nerve and incisive nerve, the inferior alveolar nerve branch. Later on, the bone spreads anterior, backward, and posterior and lateral, and it will start forming the mandibular symphysis. The ramus of the mandible develops from rapid ossification posteriorly in this direction, and the mesenchyme of the first arch ossifies. This is the area of the midline symphysis, the lateral aspect of the symphysis, where we see condensation of mesenchyme forms. As you can see, the bones never fuse in the midline area of the developing lower jaw, but they will form Meckel's cartilage will form mandibular symphysis anteriorly, which will fuse shortly after the birth. That is the maxilla. And the mandibular process. Here is Meckel's cartilage and the start of ossification lateral to it. This is the developing tongue. If we have a look more in much higher magnification, at 7th week, the first mandibular arch, mandibular bone, start developing lateral to the Meckel's cartilage, and meaning that the Meckel's cartilage does not contribute directly to ossification of the mandible, but only posteriorly in the upper extremity. It contributes to the malleus of the inner ear, and the other portions will develop into the sphenomandibular ligament and the other ligament, the anterior malleolar ligament, which provides support to the temporomandibular joint later on. But most anterior position will contribute to the endochondral ossification of the temporomandibular joint. As you see here, Meckel's cartilage will get smaller and will resorb by time. This is the developing bone lateral to it, and the start of the formation of teeth buds. So until birth, the growth of the mandible is influenced by appearance of secondary cartilages, the condylar cartilage, the coronoid cartilage, and the symphysial cartilage, which start in uterine at 12th week intrauterine, and they will disappear after birth, shortly after birth. Okay, here we see the bone formation, new developed bone, and starting of the resorption of the Meckel's cartilage. Again, Meckel's rod-like shape, the forming bone, and the developing tooth bud. Here, resorption will start in the inner wall of the alveolus. We will have here Howship's lacunae that will start resorbing the bone, and the outer wall of the alveolus will be development of a new bone in the osteoblastic system. As you see here, C is the developing tongue, A is Meckel's cartilage, B is the developing dental lamina, and the neurovascular bundle underneath, where D is, we see a nerve tissue, a vein, and a artery. Here we go. You see here it is the A alveolar process developing, B is the neurovascular bundle, C is Meckel's cartilage, which is now smaller, okay, and D is the tongue. The alveolar process you see in A, in B the neurovascular, developing neurovascular bundle, and the tongue in C. This is an even later stage of development of body of the mandible, where you see the Meckel's cartilage has already resorbed, okay. We see in B the neurovascular bonding, it has own body canal, and we see considerable development of the alveolar process in A that surrounds the developing tooth germ. Sorry, I don't have the magnified slide, where we see the development of the alveolus in the region of the developing tooth. Here you go. At this area you will see inner wall of alveolus, we have Howship lacunae, osteoclastic activity, while on the outer wall we will see development of osteoblastic, where bone is deposited. You will take further details of tooth germ development in the upcoming lecture. Development of the condylar cartilage from the temporomandibular joint, A, Meckel's cartilage in B, C is the developing bone of the mandibular fossa, D is the developing articular disc of the temporomandibular joint. See, it is flat in shape now at this stage, okay, and later on at 6 years it will be more profound, and then in the adulthood. You'll see more details in the TMJ lecture.